All right. Well, welcome to today's webinar, Railbookers 101 Live with a Q&A hosted by Cris David. I'm here with Cris right now, and this webinar is brought to you by Baxter Media. I'm your host, Zephan McMillan, Virtual Events Coordinator at Baxter Media, and today is Wednesday, May 16th. Sorry, Tuesday, May 16th. And our presenter today, as I've mentioned, is Cris David here from Railbookers Group. Cris is the Vice President of Sales Canada and oversees sales and partner relationships for Railbookers and Amtrak Vacations in the Canadian market. And Cris is also just a great guy. I've had a chance to connect with him briefly. So we're so glad he's here, and he's going to have some excellent content for you today. So we're really looking forward to it. Cris will be answering your questions at the end of the webinar, so feel free to type any of your questions into the Q&A section of the public chat box. That's the Q&A section. It's located on the right-hand side of your screen, just beside the chat box, and you could submit your questions there, and we will answer them live at the end of the webinar so that you have a chance to get your questions answered. We'll see if we can get through everybody's questions at the end. We should be able to, but time prohibitive, of course, so we'll try to get to everybody. Cris will be announcing the prize winners at the end of the webinar after the Q&A. 3 winners will be randomly selected by myself in a draw leading up to the end of the webinar. And the 3 winners will win the $100 gift cards. So stay with us to the end, folks, and Cris will announce those. And a reminder, this is a live webinar, so your patience is appreciated during any technical difficulties that may arise. The webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent to all registrants within about 24 hours once it's been processed. So with that, I'm going to hand things right over to Cris, and I'll let him take it from here. So thanks, Cris.
Thank you, Zephan, so much for those that very nice introduction, and welcome everybody. Really appreciate your being here to spend a bit of time learning about Railbookers. I think if you're not familiar with us already, Railbookers is a supplier that you will find very interesting and very useful. We are the go-to people for rail, and in essence, Railbookers is actually a tour operator. We're a full-service FIT tour operator with a rail specialty. So we handle everything you need when it comes to train segments, but also hotel sightseeing transfers and all those other bits and pieces that you always have with FIT. Before I go into the introduction to our group, I just want to reiterate, we're going to be doing the prize draw. We're going to be doing that at the end. Very nice prizes, 3 $100 gift cards. So do stay with us until the end just to make sure that you are in the running for that. Let me introduce our company. We're called the Railbookers Group, and under that corporate umbrella, there are the 2 brands, Amtrak Vacations and Railbookers. In the US, we're the official tour operator for Amtrak. That's why we have a separate brand in that market with all of the FIT, the vacation packages using the Amtrak trains going into the US national parks and other destinations throughout the lower 48 under that Amtrak Vacations brand. Railbookers is our global brand, and here you will find independent vacations and the opportunity to travel independently by rail throughout Canada, Alaska, Europe, and indeed other destinations worldwide where you find train experiences that people are very interested in, like Japan, South Africa, Australia, and other exotic destinations. The biggest takeaway, if you remember one thing from my webinar today, is that with Railbookers, you can book rail 2 years in advance. So no longer do you have to wait until 60 days prior to your client's departure to issue the rail tickets. We have special arrangements with our rail partners that enable us to book a full 24 months in advance, saving you the inconvenience of having to use a system like a calendar to remind yourself to go and book that rail when it becomes available. We work directly with all of these rail operators. Deutsche Bahn, Trenitalia, Eurostar, and all these others are our direct partners. And we have the very, very close relationships and proprietary back-end systems that give us access to their inventory, which is what allows us to book rail so far in advance. Our mission and purpose at Railbookers, quite simply, is to make it easy hassle-free and convenient for you, our travel agent partners, to deal with rail. I know that many of you in the past have found rail a little bit of a frustrating product to work with. I've heard travel agents say when my client asks me for rail, I throw my hands up in despair because I don't know where to turn. And this is where we come in to make it easy. We've got all the knowledge and expertise to advise you about the routes, timetables, schedules, and everything rail related. We allow you to book 2 years in advance. There's tremendous flexibility with our product to to adjust any of our itineraries to suit your client's exact needs. A huge selection of product. We've got luxury trains, the iconic sightseeing trains of Switzerland, all kinds of specialty trains around the world included in our itineraries, like the Jacobite steam train, the famous Harry Potter train in Scotland. And so really, when it comes to rail, what other suppliers might find a little bit outside of their comfort zone is easy for us because it's our unique specialty. And we're worldwide. Railbookers, you'll be interested to know, is actually a 100% virtual company. We have 250 staff members located in 4 countries, 33 different US states, everybody working from home. So what that means for you and your clients is wherever they're traveling, we'll be able to support them in destination with 24-hour emergency support. Our product at Railbookers, as I said at the outset, but important to understand, is not just a rail ticket. And in that sense, our name is a bit misleading. We're not only a rail booker, we book rail, but we also do all the other FIT components. Your transfers, your hotels, your sightseeing tours, uh, even things like ferries and cable cars that clients are often keen to do when they're traveling in Europe. Our product is completely customizable. So this is all FIT. So we've got thousands of itineraries on our website, but they're all suggested itineraries. It's not a group tour or a set date, and any one of them can be customized to suit your client's specific needs, or you can start from scratch. Anywhere the train goes, so do we, and we can create an itinerary to meet your specific requirements. All the components can be chosen between economy, business, and first class on the rail, 3 to 5 star hotels in every destination, and all the sightseeing tours and experiences your clients may need. Secret food tours, wine tastings, as well as your skip the line, small group guided tours of the highlight attractions. With Railbookers, we in every destination on our itineraries, we have 3, 4, and 5 star hotel options, a huge selection, small boutique properties, big chains, so your clients can decide on their hotel preference night by night, going perhaps with a luxury 5 star on a special day in the trip when they're perhaps celebrating a milestone life event. And then for the rest of the days, they can easily go with more economical options. The European rail network is quite intimidating. All of those different colors are the various rail operators, high-speed trains across Europe. So when you're putting together an itinerary that goes through different countries and regions with different train companies, it can often be very frustrating and complex. And this is where we come in, making that dead easy for you. All you need to do is tell us where your clients wish to go. We create an itinerary working with you over the phone in real time and give you an instant quote immediately after the res call. Let's take a look at some examples of the Railbookers itineraries just to give you a sense of how this all works, starting with Switzerland, which is such a lovely destination to explore by train. I'm sure you've heard about or perhaps experienced yourself the Glacier Express, the Bernina Express, these wonderful iconic sightseeing trains through Switzerland. We have many itineraries, literally dozens, ranging from 4 and 5 days right up to 2 weeks, featuring these amazing rail experiences throughout Switzerland. Many of the trips start in Basel, and they can all be customized to do so to connect seamlessly with river cruises. If your client's doing the Amsterdam to Basel Rhine cruise, going on and exploring the Swiss Alps is the perfect cruise extension opportunity. The Bernina Express, one of the famous trains of Switzerland and one of our favorites, a wonderful experience on board with service and meals. Incredible panoramic rail cars with that window you can't really see in that picture, but it goes right up over to the ceiling to showcase the main attraction, which is those incredible landscapes throughout the Swiss Alps. There you see the Bernina Express, which has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, going over one of the um, distinctive spiral viaducts that the brilliant Swiss engineers have used to enable the train to ascend to very high altitudes without ever going beyond the maximum gradient for the train. The Glacier Express is the sister train to the Bernina. It goes across Switzerland from St. Moritz to Zermatt. It's an 8-hour journey, known as the world's slowest express train because it goes, through tunnels, over mountain passes, showcasing magnificent scenery all along the way. It can be upgraded on board to excellence class, and this is something we always recommend. As you all know so well, your clients will never remember the little bit extra they paid for these upgrades to these wonderful first class experiences. But boy, the experience of being in excellence class with your 5-course gourmet meal, your concierge service, the magnificent one by one seating with those giant leather upholstered armchairs where everybody has their own panoramic window, really makes this an experience that they'll never forget. Arriving into Zermatt, this is the bookend town, alpine village for the Glacier Express. Picture perfect Swiss alpine town. It's actually car free, so there are no cars in Zermatt. You come into the rail station, all the hotels are right there. They have these cute little kind of converted golf carts that take you with your luggage to the hotel, and just the ideal place to spend a few days marveling at the beauty of the Alps. We have, again, hotel selections ranging from 3 to 5 star. Why not stay at the amazing Schweizerhof right in the center of town? And while you're at it, make sure to get a room with a view of the Matterhorn. Speaking of the Matterhorn, the main attraction in Zermatt is taking the Gornergrat cog train. The Swiss have pioneered these trains that can ascend to the summit of the mountain peaks, traveling on a very steep gradient with a cog mechanism, and this enables you to go to the top of the mountain right next to the Matterhorn in Zermatt and have those magnificent views of the world's most famous mountain peak throughout that journey. Lucerne, of course, is a must on any visit to Switzerland. So much culture and history. The 600-year-old Chapel Bridge, the most distinctive landmark. But the main attraction there is the trip to the top of Mount Pilatus. And this is an incredible day excursion, which starts with a cruise on Lake Lucerne. You then ascend on the world's steepest cog train to the summit of the mountain, have a few magical hours up there to take in the views, enjoy a meal, perhaps a Swiss fondue al fresco overlooking the Alps, and then at the end of that thrilling day, you go back down to Lucerne on the gondola. Or if your clients really want to augment the adventure, the occasion, they can stay at the top in the Hotel Kuhlmann. We can arrange that as an upgrade, having the whole mountain to themselves when all the day visitors return to Lucerne. The Jungfrau, another incredible, magnificent Swiss Alpine experience. This is the top of Europe, the highest rail station in Europe. You ascend on a cog train from Interlaken to this uh, to the Jungfrau peak at over 11,000 feet. There's a magnificent visitor center up there, and again another wonderful excursion. With this particular itinerary ending in Zurich, it can be customized to end in Basel as well. Though Zurich is a lovely place, Switzerland's capital, beautiful historic town. Cruise extensions is a huge part of what we're about at Railbookers. About a third of all our European bookings are on some way related to a cruise or river cruise. We've got all of our cruise extension itineraries categorized on our website by river and by port, so making it very easy for you to just go on there and see if your client's doing a Danube cruise or Rhine or which port they're coming into. You can get an idea of the various different itineraries and options available for your clients to explore further by land. A great example is Venice and Rome from Civitavecchia. People doing med cruises often want to go and explore more of Italy. And here's a package just 5 days, which allows them to go and make the most of that short space of time, picked up by the train right in Civitavecchia. The train station is about 500 meters from the cruise terminal, and it spurts you right into the center of Rome, where you have 2 nights, again with accommodation of your choice, lots of sightseeing, and then going up to Venice by rail, 2 nights there with a sightseeing program, including your gondola ride and all the other attractions. In Rome, you'll do the Sistine Chapel and the Vatican museums in a small group, skip the line guided tour. And the time in Venice, although it's just 2 days, we always make sure, and this is a great thing about FIT, that there's time to enjoy the destination independently. When you're in Venice, you absolutely have to go for a stroll, get lost on the cobbled alleyways, and find yourself, in a canal side cafe enjoying an Aperol spritz. When it comes to Italy by rail, it is just so easy and convenient. It's the obvious way to travel independently around Italy. Rome to Florence is 2 hours. Rome to Venice is just 4 hours. You can get from Rome to Naples in just over an hour. Up to the Cinque Terre, which is a huge destination for us, in just over 4 hours. So, you get to leave in the morning, arrive around lunchtime, and you have the whole rest of the day to enjoy your destination. Here's some imagery of the Trenitalia Frecciarossa high-speed trains. And in the top left, that is the economy compartment. And the reason that's interesting is for what's missing there, and that is the middle seat. When it comes to traveling by rail, even if you're in economy, it's always a 2x2 seat configuration. So everyone has an aisle or a window. And if you're in business class, it would usually be 1x2 seating for the extra space. Another great example of a cruise extension is Munich and Prague to Budapest. And what this shows with Railbookers is that, in a short 5-day pre-cruise itinerary, you can really do so much more than your clients might have thought possible. Cruise extension doesn't just have to be a few extra nights in the cruise port. You can go, for example, from Munich to Prague to Budapest. Munich to Prague is about 5 hours on the train. It's quick, easy, convenient, city center to city center. So again, you can hit the ground running when you arrive, exploring the great attractions. In Munich, with that itinerary, you provide the Munich City Card, which gives you free transportation throughout the city and access to 45 different attractions, including the incredible Nymphenburg Palace, um, one of the great palaces of Europe. Also, excursions to outlying areas like Neuschwanstein, which is a must when visiting Bavaria. And in Prague, we include all the sightseeing highlights, a small group guided walking tour with a local guide to see Prague Castle and the astronomical clock and all those great things, but also free time to enjoy the street food. And you can also, in Prague, arrange an excursion through us to Karlovy Vary, Carlsbad, the famous spa town, before arriving into Budapest. And when you're booking an FIT cruise extension with Railbookers, you can schedule it so they arrive into the cruise port as far in advance of the cruise as they like. So they could have 1 night pre in Budapest, or 2 or 3, completely at their own choosing. Luxury rail is a huge part of what we're about at Railbookers too. Uh, some important things to bear in mind about luxury trains. People today are looking for bucket list experiences. I hear that from agents all the time. They're willing to spend more to do those amazing, unique, and iconic travel experiences. Luxury trains are very often historic and iconic experiences. Incredible onboard service with high staff to passenger ratios. uh, Amazing cuisine, really like a Michelin restaurant on wheels if you're on the Orient Express or the Royal Scotsman. Very comfortable sleeping accommodations that can be single, twin, or double in many cases, and lots of off-train experiences, making it a really immersive exposure to the destination. The most famous luxury train in the world is the Venice Simplon Orient Express. And the most popular route for the Orient Express is London to Venice, which is a trip that just takes 1.5 days. So at Railbookers, what we've done is package the Orient Express into longer itineraries of 7 to 10 days, combining it with other complementary luxury travel and rail experiences. In this case, the Glacier and Bernina Express. So after you arrive into Venice and have your 3 days there, you get to go up through northern Italy by rail to Tirano, where you board the Bernina Express, and continue on into those iconic Swiss trains. The Orient Express is the epitome of luxury, style, and sophistication. The decor really exudes the Art Deco theme of the 1930s when the train first entered service. Wonderful polished cherry wood furnishings and sumptuous upholstery. There are these incredible grand suites for those who can afford it on the train. The train has 4 grand suites, which are the absolute pinnacle of luxury and opulence. Meals on board the Orient Express are second to none. There are 5 meals on the 1.5 day journey between London and Venice, each more spectacular than the last. And the sister train for the Orient Express, some of you may be familiar with, is the Royal Scotsman. This is a 5-star hotel that travels with you as you go exploring the Scottish Highlands. Wonderful thing about the Royal Scotsman, it includes a lot of off-train experiences. So as you go through the Highlands, you stop off at these wonderful estates where you can play golf or do try your hand at clay pigeon shooting or falconry. You get to visit whiskey distilleries and really kind of take in all of these amazing experiences. And if people choose not to do the guided hike down to a waterfall at one of the stops in Scotland, they can stay on board and enjoy the spa on the Royal Scotsman, which is very famous. On the Royal Scotsman, all the sleeping is at ground level, so there are no bunk beds, and you can choose between double, twin, or single accommodation. Dining, of course, is second to none, featuring that wonderful fresh Scottish seafood and local ingredients. And again, you can do all these amazing off-train experiences. The bar cart, the other thing about the Royal Scotsman, it's completely all inclusive. So all your alcoholic beverages, all your meals, your high teas, those off-train experiences, and the luxury accommodation is all included. And the bar car, I should mention, has 50 different brands of single malt scotch. So that might just be the clincher for some of your clients who are thinking about it. Moving across the pond now to talk about Railbookers experiences outside of Europe, starting with Canada. Canada is a tremendously popular destination to explore by rail. High on many people's bucket list is the idea of crossing this continent on the train, the perfect way to really get a feel for the vastness and the grandeur and the scale of Canada. There's no better vantage point than that panorama car on Via Rail's Canadian train. It's a front row seat on Canada's most stunning scenery. We've got lots of itineraries that do the Trans-Canadian journey. It can be done just in a straight shot. It's 4 days and 4 nights, but most times people will include an interlude in the Canadian Rockies of 4 or 5 nights between Jasper, Banff, and Lake Louise to see the national parks and enjoy all the sights there. And our itineraries, of course, include those excursions into the national parks with the park rangers and all the other highlights. Grand Canada, the Rockies westbound starts in Toronto. There are 2 nights in Toronto, taking in our own highlights, as well as an excursion to Niagara Falls. You then go across the train and have 5 nights in the Rockies. Accommodation on board Via Rail's Canadian train, the Sleeper Plus class, as they call it, the sleeping accommodation. You can go with a cabin for 1 or cabin for 2, where you have comfortable seats that convert into bunk beds with your shower private but shared down the hall at the end of the rail car, or you can opt for Prestige class, which is our own luxury 5-star rail experience here in Canada. Beautiful wood paneled stateroom, huge double bed, big panoramic window, and beautifully appointed ensuite washroom, as well as a private lounge for the Prestige guests as well. So these trips across Canada by rail really give you the ultimate sort of iconic Canadian experience. You get to see Toronto and Vancouver and Niagara Falls. You get to enjoy the Icefields Parkway and go out on that Glacier Skywalk, the most beautiful highway in the world, and take in the national parks. The largest national park in the Rockies is Jasper National Park. We spend a full day exploring it with a national park ranger who will take you to Maligne Lake and all the other iconic scenic destinations. And you get to stay in these wonderful Canadian iconic hotels like the Banff Springs if you choose, or you can go with a more modest property in Banff Town. Alaska is another very popular destination for us at Railbookers. Uh, People don't always think of Alaska as a rail destination, but really going on the Alaska Railroad and exploring America's largest state, which, by the way, a bit of trivia, has 1/5 the size of the entire lower 48. I was alarmed to discover that. And you can take the train all the way from Seward on the south coast up to Denali National Park and even further into Fairbanks, really enjoying and experiencing the real authentic Alaska, the waterfalls, mountains, and beautiful landscapes. And again, going by train is such a great way to take in all of that scenic beauty. Alaska Railroad has two classes of service. There is Adventure Class, which is the economy. Um, and even in economy, by the way, Alaska Railroad has glass dome panorama cars, which everybody has access to. But if your clients upgrade to Gold Star service, which is the first class, it's somewhat similar to Rocky Mountaineer in that you have a double-decker rail car with the seats up top under a glass dome panoramic window and a restaurant down below where the included meals are served. You have commentary being provided by the knowledgeable onboard staff and also an outdoor observation deck for that reflection-free photography. Anchorage is a big part of our itineraries in Alaska, the gateway to the north, a wonderful destination in its own right with lots of nature and wildlife right within the city limits. The trips usually start in Anchorage. So you fly into Anchorage. There's no direct rail access into Alaska from Canada. You fly into Anchorage, or you can start in Seward, um, connecting with an Alaska cruise. So you would go from Anchorage down to Seward, where you enjoy a half-day cruise through Kenai Fjords National Park, um, which is just magnificent, and an opportunity to see those the marine wildlife, sea lions, seals, whales, and the beautiful remote islands. Then you go from Seward, you go back up to Anchorage, you have an overnight there, and then proceed with your journey towards um, Denali National Park via Talkeetna, which is a charming gold rush era town with lots of um, uh, high octane kind of adventure opportunities available, jet boating on the rivers, dry land dog sledding, and various other adventures. We can arrange flight seeing around Denali as well. We can arrange a private guided fishing excursion. So really, whatever your clients have in mind in Alaska, we can build into these itineraries. The highlight, though, is Denali National Park. Just quickly go back. That's for many people the main thing that they want to experience in Alaska, and there we include a full day excursion, traveling throughout Denali, taking in all the most popular scenic overlooks and learning about the wildlife and the nature. In conclusion of my presentation today, I want to get to a quick section on Amtrak vacations, just to give you an idea what is possible for your clients in terms of exploring the lower 48 US states by rail. The map there showed the entire Amtrak network, which consists of 500 stations, and all of our itineraries can be customized to start or end or include any of those stations. So wherever your clients may want to make a side trip, perhaps to visit relatives or friends, they can do so, amending our itineraries accordingly. The main attraction with Amtrak vacations is the US national parks. The train, these wonderful Amtrak Superliner trains, can deliver your clients right to the doorstep of some of America's most spectacular natural places: Glacier National Park, the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, the Mighty Five of Southern Utah, and many of these other amazing national parks. Accommodation on Amtrak is a roomette or a sleeper. Roomette is a small compartment, 2 seats that convert to bunk beds. And if your clients want the additional privacy of an ensuite washroom, they can upgrade to a sleep bedroom where you have toilet, vanity, and shower right in the privacy of your own compartment. Meals are taken on Amtrak as well as at Via Rail in the dining car, which is such a wonderful thing about rail travel. You get to enjoy a lovely meal, selecting from a wide range of menu options while watching the beautiful scenery pass by outside the window. A great example of an Amtrak Vacations National Parks trip, uh, Grand National Parks with Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Grand Canyon. This is a 13-day itinerary, so this is really an epic adventure, taking in these American iconic highlights, traveling on the overnight train. There's 4 nights overnight on board the train, and it's an alternative for a family to perhaps a European tour or a cruise, a real epic adventure taking in lots of different destinations over a 2-week time span. In Yellowstone National Park, we take care of everything. You've got your lodge accommodation, and by the way, with Amtrak Vacations, we hold inventory in the national park lodges, so we can get space in places like the lodges right inside Yellowstone and Glacier National Park, and we pay commission on that lodge accommodation, which you would not get if you were to try and book that separately. We include, of course, the guided tour throughout the Yellowstone lower loop to see the geysers and the mud pots and the incredible geological wonders, as well as, of course, as the scenery and the wildlife. The train journeys on these national park trips, in this case, you're going to travel on the California Zephyr, which travels between Chicago and San Francisco, and the Southwest Chief that travels between Los Angeles back to Chicago, going through this wonderful scenery of the Rocky Mountains. If any of the Railbookers itineraries or any of these travel ideas appeal to you, we would love to have you travel with us. And we've structured our travel advisor discount so that you can enjoy our product the way your clients do, traveling independently with your own family and friends. So it's for 4 people, so you and 3 companions can all get the benefit of that 20% travel advisor discount. There's also lots of great material available to you to promote independent rail travel on our travel agent portal. This is easily accessible through the homepage of our website. You just click travel agent login, and you enter your email address and your IATA number, and that gets you to a wonderful resource area where you can find customizable flyers, e-brochures, social media content, and lots of other marketing assets and sales tools, pre-recorded webinars as well. We have everyday specials at Railbookers, so I would always advise anybody who's got a client who's interested in traveling with us, or if you're working on an itinerary, to go to the deals page on our website and just see whether any of the destinations or specific itineraries on sale work for your client. You have the opportunity to achieve fantastic savings. We also have periodic flash sales, so look out for those. That brings me to the conclusion of the presentation. I'm going to now open it up for questions, but do remember that we are doing prize draws. We have 3 $100 gift cards that are going to be drawn. I think your odds of winning are really quite good. So stay on. Zephin's going to do a randomized draw in just a few minutes where we'll select those winners. But in the meantime, let's open it up for questions. See if anybody has any questions. I see a couple of things in the chat that I can quickly address. Whether pricing is in US or Canadian dollars, everything is in Canadian dollars. So when you look on our website, you can select the little Canadian flag at the top right. You will see all the pricing in Canadian dollars. And if you're building a custom itinerary, even from scratch, we can switch our system into CAD, so everything that you're quoted is in our own currency.
Great. So, yeah, a couple other questions for you here from the Q&A section. And folks, feel free to submit more questions. We've got time, so keep them coming. But so this question is saying, I would book a complete package with you, but when booking rail packages in Europe, is there a minimum number of nights in a hotel/tours that you must have to book it through Railbookers? Is it different for North America?
Oh, that's such a good question. That's a question I would have seeded if I had the opportunity, because it's really so important, and I really need to clarify. In Europe, our minimum requirement is 1 hotel night. So as a tour operator, our requirement is that the booking is kind of defined as a package, but we set the bar very low for that definition of it being a package, and that is just including one hotel night. So you, for example, can have 6 different rail segments. As long as we have one night in a gateway hotel or an airport hotel, that would satisfy the minimum requirement. And to the second part of your question, yes, it is different for Europe and North America. In North America, we don't have any hotel requirement. We can do rail only. So we can do Via Rail and Amtrak rail only. With the the one caveat that the commission is very slightly lower on rail only. But yeah, so US and Canada, we can do rail only or full packages. Europe only packages, and the minimum is one hotel night.
Great. So next question. When booking 2 years in advance, do changes occur in schedules, etc., and what happens in that case?
With European rail, the schedule changes are very minor, if at all. It's usually a matter of minutes, and you never have, we've been at this sort of a long time, working very closely hand in hand with all of the European rail operators. And in the event that there is a schedule change, we will advise you, right away and handle any kind of downstream implications if there are any. By the way, the price is locked in 2 years in advance with a deposit of $250 per person. And that's for all components of the trip, the rail, any hotels and sightseeing. So even if there's not published pricing, we are committing to the price 2 years out.
Okay, great. And I'm just going to check through here and see. I think there's one more question submitted just now. And folks, please feel free to submit more questions. This is the last one for now. So if there are any more questions, we can still get to them. We still have time. Even if we're announcing the prize and you want to submit a question, feel free to, and we can get to it after. But after this question, we'll go on to announcing the prize winners and then go from there. So the question is, what are the commission rates?
Commission rates are 12%. I believe everybody on the call today would be, we very, very grateful to have preferred partnerships in place with most of the consortia the travel consortia in Canada, and our preferred commission rate is 12%. Non-preferred is 10%. Preferred is 12%, and for rail only. So if you're at 12%, preferred rail only would be 10%.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for answering these questions.
I should also just on that one as well. Just interesting to note, the average sale for Railbookers is about $6,500 per booking. So some people have the mindset that rail is sort of very low revenue product. When you calculate 12% commission on $6,500, it comes into the $750, $800 range. So really, make our mission really is to make it really worthwhile for you to be able to make rail a standard part of what you work with. Sorry, Zephyr, let's go on and do the prize. Up for the exciting stuff.
Okay, sounds good. And again, folks, feel free to ask your questions. But why don't we go ahead and announce the prize? So, Cris, we've got randomized prize winners, and they should be in your messages. So go ahead. And,
yes, I see those. So our first $100 gift card goes to Alida Leo. Congratulations, Alida. Our second $100 gift card goes to Kim Crawford. Awesome, Kim. So happy to be sending you that shortly. And the third one, goes to Shen Velji.
Awesome.
So, Alida, Kim, and Shen, congratulations. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, these 3 prize winners, you will be hearing from the Railbookers team to arrange the gift card prizes. And so congratulations. That's really exciting. And yeah, thank you everybody so much for being here. Cris, you're getting lots of thank you messages in the chats. Great to see. And yeah, thank you to our prize winners. And thank you everybody for being here. So,
Great.
with that, I don't think we have any other questions. So why don't we go ahead and we'll wrap it up from here. Thank you so much, Cris. What a great presentation. I thought you nailed it, knocked it out of the park. Beautiful visuals. I mean, just stunning photos. I can't wait to get on a train now. So thank you so much for that.
Mission accomplished. Well, thank you, Zephyr, and thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and week.
Great. Well, right after the webinar, folks, ends, you will be redirected to the Railbookers website where you can access more information from them. And a reminder to please subscribe to Baxter Media's publications. You can subscribe at travelpress.com/subscribe or click the link at the top of the chat box there. Also, check out our Baxter Media LinkedIn page. It's a great way to hear about what we're doing. And we love bringing you helpful content like this webinar. So feel free to drop us a message in email or something like that. And if you do have any more questions for Cris or any of his team members, feel free to email them and get in touch. Again, the webinar recording from today's session will be sent to you all within about 24 hours, and we will include contact information for the Railbookers team in that email. And again, the recording will be there too for you to revisit the content. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We really appreciate your time, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. And yeah, happy selling. So thanks, everyone, for being here.
Bye, everyone.